The XPS is back with two completely new laptops. If you're unaware, XPS was Dell's premium line of consumer laptops, and boy, was it popular. For years, XPS laptops, they dominated the market because of their high quality build and their innovation. The XPS, that was the laptop that introduced us to the first edge-to-edge display. Before it, all laptops had these chunky bezels. Look, back in the day, XPS laptops were the best Windows laptops that you could buy for creators and casual users. But Dell made a couple of really odd product management and marketing choices that saw them just disappear. Literally, the name itself was gone, replaced with a generic name called Dell Premium. Well, unlike other manufacturers who receive tough love from us and just ignore it, Dell has risen to the challenge. Seriously, their COO got on stage at their big press event in December and apologized, saying we, the reviewers, were right and they were wrong. I mean, how often have you heard that from a major company? Anyway, he told us that he and the team were getting back to their roots, focusing on the basics and investing in their consumer lines. So, what's changed with these brand new XPS laptops? Well, a lot. Firstly, the physical function row is back. The invisible trackpad that was hard to find now has this physical edge to it that you can see and feel. And of course, the name XPS has returned. It is displayed proudly on the lid for the first time. Great to see that back. Look, in total transparency, this is a sponsored video to announce these new XPS laptops and some other goodies coming from Dell. Today, I'm just going to walk you through what's new and physically what these devices are like. Obviously, we will be back. We'll follow up with our normal, rigorous testing and unsponsored full review. That's going to happen in the coming weeks, so get subscribed with the notification bell on for that. Let's get straight into the new XPS 14 and 16. Straight away, you'll notice that they look more modern and stylish than last year's Dell Premium. Gone is that heavily tapered design. These look more boxy, but in a really stylish way. It kind of feels a similar design style to the 15-inch MacBook Air, which does look amazing. When you hold them, you can really feel their build quality. It's the same premium build that you expect from Dell's XPS line. What you'll definitely notice is that they weigh significantly less than prior models. Yay! 3.7 pounds for the 16-inch and 3 pounds for the 14-inch. In fact, the new XPS 16 weighs around the same as the older 14-inch Dell Premium. In terms of size, the 16-inch is the most compact 16-inch laptop we've ever had in. It is smaller than Asus's Zephyrus G16 and even a little smaller than their ZenBook S16, a very thin 16-inch laptop. That's at least compared to Asus's 2024 models. The 14-inch Dell XPS is so small it is around the same size as the 13.6-inch MacBook Air. The XPS is a little wider than the Air, but the Air is deeper. These XPS laptops are going to be available in two colors, graphite and shimmer. Graphite is the darker one that we have in and will be available first. Shimmer, that's the lighter one that's coming later this year. The laptops each have two display options. There's a 1920 by 1200 IPS screen available for those who want the best possible battery life. Then there is a high-resolution tandem OLED panel, which are the panels that we have in. The IPS panel is actually brighter than the tandem OLED for SDR content, that is, which kind of surprised us. It's also thinner, which does reduce the laptop's weight a little. The tandem OLED will look more vibrant though because it supports true blacks and has increased contrast. It also supports touch, by the way. Both panels have a variable refresh rate. The IPS goes right down to 1 Hz and up to 120 Hz. The tandem OLED goes down to 20 Hz and also up to 120. This is great. Mobile phones have been doing this for years, where they significantly drop the refresh rate when you're looking at static content. This is to conserve battery, so it's good that Dell are bringing this into the laptop space. Both these laptops come with the same 4 processor options, all of which are Panther Lake processors. They're also known as Core Ultra Series 3. The Ultra 5 325 and the Ultra 7 355, they're the less powerful ones with 8 CPU cores. The Ultra X7 35H and the X9 38H, they're the more powerful ones with 16 CPU cores and that better Intel integrated Arc GPU. Basically, Panther Lake, it's meant to give you the incredible battery life of Lunar Lake with the strong performance of Arrow Lake. That's if you get one of the CPUs with H in the name. Now, if you're just doing basic office work and web browsing, I'd go for the Ultra 5 or Ultra 7 chips. If you're doing coding, audio engineering, or you want to do some gaming, go for one of the Core Ultra X chips from the H series range. Now, as I talked to the product management team about what they were trying to achieve with the design of these laptops, the word optimization, it just kept coming up. The Dell team set out to build an extremely premium laptop that is lightweight, has a small form factor, yet offers strong performance, very long battery life with minimal annoyances like heat and fan noise. To achieve this, the XPS 14 can sustain 25 watts with short bursts up to 65 watts. The 16-inch can sustain a high 35 watts and can also burst up to 65 watts. Now, you may be surprised that these don't give you the full 45 watt sustained power that these Panther Lake chips are capable of. Dell told me that they felt it made more sense for the target user to limit it rather than compromise on design or allow the chassis to get warmer and the battery life to be shorter. With that said, there are 4 performance modes available. You got the default optimized mode, there's the quiet, cool, and ultra performance mode. Optimized, that's essentially their balance mode, and it sets the TDP to 19 watts on the XPS 14 and 27 on the XPS 16. However, they can still burst up to 65 watts. To bump out that sustained base power, you'll need to run in ultra performance mode. Other than this, the laptops continue to use haptic trackpads, but as I mentioned, you can now see and feel where the trackpad begins and ends. The keyboard has 0.8mm of key travel. That's one of the ways that Dell was able to keep these laptops so thin, but they don't feel as low travel as you would expect. Sierra and we actually did a blind test, and we guessed the travel was around 1 to 1.2mm. When it comes to the webcam and speakers, these laptops both have 4K webcams built right into the display's tiny bezels. This is pretty hard to achieve given how thin the displays are. They also have Windows Hello facial recognition to get you logged in fast, but they don't have a fingerprint reader. Now, when it comes to speakers, you are in for a real treat. I really mean that, guys. These have 2 top-firing speakers that come through the keyboard, that's why there are no grills. Then there are 2 downward-facing woofers. The sound gets very loud, room-filling without distortion. They sound clear with good stereo separation. Guys, I think we finally have a competitor to the MacBook Pro, at least for speakers. Actually, while we're on the topic of the MacBook Pro, the XPS 14, it's thinner, it's smaller, it's lighter, yet it feels just as well built. However, the MacBook Pro has more ports. The XPS, it only has 3 USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports and a headphone mic combo jack. Since there is a USB-C port on both sides, you can charge the laptop on either side, which is convenient. The XPS 14 and 16, they both come with 100-watt chargers, that's USB-C chargers. You may be surprised by such a high wattage, but it's needed to enable express charging, which gives you up to 80% charge in just 40 minutes. Also, keep in mind, both these laptops can boost their CPU up to 65 watts of power. And check this out, folks. This 100-watt charger is tiny. It's literally the size of some of our small 65-watt chargers. Finally, on ports, apparently you can get a Kensington lock that works with one of these USB-C ports, but I really don't have any more information on that. When it comes to internals, you get Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6. There are options for PCIe Gen 5 SSDs as well as PCIe Gen 4. Finally, you might be asking, as I was, what happened to the dedicated GPUs? Many content creators loved using XPS laptops. Heck, even some people like buying these for coding and want to do some solid AAA gaming in their downtime. Well, Dell announced that they are coming out with a slim Alienware 16-inch laptop, which should appeal to some of you guys. It's basically 50% of the size of the current Alienware 16 Area 51 and weighs a lot less. Dell also made it abundantly clear that these are not the only laptops coming in the XPS range, and we should hang tight. They hear us that we want an XPS with a dedicated GPU and more ports like an SD card reader, particularly in the 16-inch form factor. Alright, so with that said, I'm going to wrap. Overall, I think both these laptops are going to be very compelling for people who want that MacBook-like experience in a Windows laptop who don't need a powerful GPU. Make sure that you're subscribed with the notification bell on, as we have a lot more of these product announcement videos coming. And of course, we're hoping that we'll be the first out the gate with a detailed review of these new laptops, packed with test results. As always, if you are in the market to buy a laptop, definitely head over to our website, bestlaptop.deals. Over there, we list our favorite laptops for each type of user. We track prices right across retailers so you know where to buy from and when to buy to get the best deal. Catch you later.